Corporate Chef Adam Klosterman with Apex Commercial Kitchen Company. Today we're going to go over a little bit of the use and care of the Groen braising pan. I'm going to try to cover everything, however, please refer to the owner's manual for a little bit more specific information. The braising pan is one of the most versatile pieces of equipment a kitchen can have. You can use it to saute, sear, fry, steam, boil, and of course, braise. The braising pan can allow you to create fresher, more unique menu items. With its extreme flexibility, you could use it like a griddle top to sear meat, make pancakes or eggs. You could also use it like a large fry pan to create unique stir fries or rice dishes such as jambalaya. You could use it like a large stock pot to boil pasta or create from scratch soups. Do not allow yourself to get caught up in a repetition of using this for basic items. Utilize it to expand upon your menu, to create from scratch or semi-scratch items to take your kitchen to the next level. Before we get started, there's a couple of buttons and accessories that you guys should be aware of. To get the machine started, of course, we can utilize the on-off switch. This unit here is a hand crank, so we actually use this crank to hand crank the tilting mechanism. On some units there also might be a power crank, which the button will look very similar to the on-off switch here. It's the exact same switch actually, and we can toggle up or down to activate the crank on the kettle or braising pan. Here we have our temperature control. On this unit, it's a thermostatic control, so we can actually set our exact temperature. On some units, there also is a numeric control where we utilize 1 through 10 to gauge our levels of heat. The last thing here is we also have what we call a tangent draw-off, which is a drain opening where we can utilize this to open or close to strain liquids after cleaning and or after the cook process. To get the machine started, you'll first want to make sure that the pan is in the level position by either utilizing our manual crank or the power tilt. Once the pan is leveled, you'll want to start by pushing the on switch. We don't have any power to this unit here, but that light will come on. We'll then use our thermostatic control to set what temperature we'd like to preheat the pan to. And then our heat indicator light will also come on as well. You might hear it click for a few seconds, and then once the machine is ignited, the clicking should stop. Please be aware, do not try to avoid heating the pan up without any liquid or any product in the pan for an extended period of time to avoid scorching. A few things to note about the machine during the cook process. You might want to use, it's good to use actually a rounded spatula versus some of the squared or pointy-ended spatulas. It is okay to use some light action as you're cooking around. We have these nice rounded edges as well, so product doesn't get lost or caught up in the corners. You do want to avoid using the squared off or pointy spatulas, especially in a heavy, kind of that type of action there, just to avoid scratching, as scratches on the surface could make it a little more challenging to clean later on. You do have this nice lid here. The lid will stop where you stop. You have the ability to utilize it during the cook process, arrange it and put it where you'd like. You also don't have to worry about it falling or closing on you during the cook process. One thing to note though, if you're finished cooking and you're about to empty product out, is you do want to go ahead and have the lid in the full upright position before you start to tilt. Another thing to note is on the manual crank and the power tilt, regardless of what the mechanism is, once you put this into a tilting action and the machine is no longer level, you will lose your heat supply. One of the most handy features of the braising pan is what we call the tangent draw, or in layman's terms, it's a strainer or a drain valve. It's a two-part piece. We have the strainer that goes on the inside here. We also have the stem that can control the amount of liquid that comes in and out of the drain here. One thing that you really want to note, to put this in, you want to hand crank, never use a tool, hand crank this closed here. That's to get the stem off, but during the cook process we can also use the black knob to control the amount of liquid that is allowed in and out of the drain when we're in the tilting position. When you go to take this off for cleaning, which we'll talk about here in just a second, if you're having a hard time getting this off here, you can feel free to unscrew the black knob a little bit more. That might loosen things up and allow you to remove this off. Once the food is finished cooking, you'll want to remove the product and begin the clean process. To remove the product, we'll use our hand crank here to either strain, drain, or remove any food product from the pan. Once you've removed all the food product, either using the lip or the tangent draw off, you'll want to begin the clean process by hand cranking the unit back to level. If you've turned the unit off, you'll want to turn it back on. I like to set my temperature to about 125 degrees. If you don't have a water source here locally attached to the pan, use a nearby hand sink, fill up a container of water, and fill the unit up. I like to fill it up to a level where debris or cooking material has gotten coated on the side of the pan. I like to fill my water up just above that line. You can also add in a light detergent or soap of sorts to begin having some of that action as well. I like to then close my lid. I'll close my lid, keep it at that 125 degrees, and let that kind of shake around and let that water kind of steam and heat up the exterior of the pan. After the 10 or 15 minutes has passed with the water and soap in the cavity, it's okay to go ahead and loosen up our tangent draw off, open the drain, hand tilt, allow the water to come out either into the floor drain or a bucket. You'll want to then make sure that you can, to clean any hard soil or grease or anything off the cavity, feel free to utilize a green scrubby or something like that. Never, of course, use anything with metal or something really harsh on the bottom of the cavity there. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, scratching of the surface can make it extremely challenging to clean later on. Once all the liquid has drained out of the cavity, you'll want to make sure that you utilize some clean water, kind of run that through to make sure that we've removed all chemicals and things from the cavity before we start cooking again. Once your cavity's all cleaned up, we'll hand crank it back to the level position, make sure the unit is off, make sure that our temperature control is back to off as well, and you're ready to start cooking again. For any other further questions or concerns about the cooking, cleaning, or operation of this unit, please feel free to refer to the owner's manual. Thank you.